What is up, my moto solders? These are my moto solders. Just kidding. You guys are my motor solders. So, I'd like to tell you guys a little bit about myself. And this bike. You can't trust these gas gauges on this bike. And so this bike is a Royal Enfield GT650S. I don't know if the S is actually there. So yeah, this is a Royal Enfield GT650S, or maybe S, maybe not S. But yeah, this is a Royal Enfield, and so far, so this just for full context, this is my third bike, and I like this bike a lot. It's a 2021, and I got it for a really good deal, and it's my third bike. And so, just going into my bike history a little bit, my first bike was when I was 16 years old. I'm 25 now, so that was about 9 years ago. And so that first bike was a 1980 Kawasaki KZ440, and it was a nightmare. And we'll go into nightmare, or how to avoid bike nightmares. But I had the KZ440. It was an absolute nightmare, barely ran. And then after that, right after I got that KZ440 and it wouldn't run, I spent like a year trying to make it run. Could not get it to run. What are you doing up there, man? Could not get that bad boy to run. And so what I ultimately ended up doing was I actually donated the bike. I literally donated the bike. It was a hunk of metal. Called somebody, they picked it up, and I got a little bit of a tax write-off for it. Not nearly as much as the amount of money that I put into the goddamn bike. And so the second bike that I had was a Suzuki SV650, and that was a nice bike. It was a really nice bike. It's a sport bike, not a super sport bike, so the insurance on it was decent. And it was a really nice bike, and I had that for a few years. But from there, what I basically, what I had to do was my life evolved, right? I had to get rid of the bike because I moved out of my parents' house. I didn't have a garage anymore, and I started the early 20s condo and apartment life, or apartment and now condo life. But life circumstances, which I can get into in a later video, life circumstances led me to have to basically help my parents out a little bit more, and I'm living with my parents, or spending more time with my parents. And so with that, I was like, yo, I got a garage again. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found this bike for $3K. 3 grand, 2021 Royal Enfield GT650. That's like 9K miles, had like 8K at the time that I got it. Dope. And so far it's been awesome, because the Suzuki SV650 that I had was a 2007. The SV650 was a 2007. And that was okay, but it wasn't phenomenal. And it's interesting because the 2007, no, I'm not even gonna. Not even gonna do it. But it's crazy the amount of oil that spills. Like, oh god damn, the amount of oil that's sitting right here. My hair's in my face. Everything, something, then everything else. I don't know what that guy's shirt said. But yeah, so that SV650 was pretty dope, and I had to get rid of it. And then I got this GT650 for $3K on Facebook Marketplace, which was awesome. Just because I had to get rid of the SV650 in like 2022, and so it's been like 3 years since I've actually ridden. It's not like I've been riding for these last like 9 years consistently. So I had to get rid of the SV650, and I wasn't, I was living the condo apartment life for quite a few years, and now here we are in 2025, where I got a bike again, and it was nice. This is easing me back into riding, and I might, maybe I'll go with the Super Sport next. I don't know, but I've learned a lot, and truthfully, the biggest thing that I've learned is what not to do and what not to get. I flipped the SV650 for a decent price, but after I flipped the SV650, I was actually break even on my motorcycle endeavors, just because of Literally just because of how much money I put into that KZ440, man. And so actually, I'm about to go get gas. VHPD. It's a popo right there. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it. But yeah, after I get gas, I'll explain to you guys honestly what I find to be some of the biggest, most important aspects of buying a bike, especially when you're buying it aftermarket or used. And I've never bought a new bike. I don't know jack about that, but I'll tell you guys in a second. Alright, we're back. Why is that battery light still on? Oh, okay, it's off. Gas is full. We're good. Zipper check, zippers checked. My hair's in my face. Ugh. But nah, man, I learned a lot with that KZ440. And the biggest thing that I learned from that goddamn shit bike was to avoid carburetors at all costs. Do not get a carbureted bike. You can if you're mechanically advanced. I am not mechanically advanced, man. I don't want that kind of liability. I do math for a living. I don't tinker with metal parts spraying fuel. So yeah, man, I'm not very pro. I'm not pro carburetors, and if you're somebody who's in the market for a used bike, if you're looking for your first bike, do not go with a bike that is carbureted. You know, you're gonna see a lot of cheap bikes out there, but all those bikes are cheap because they don't run. They don't run properly, and they don't run properly because gas over time gets gunky. Gas over time gets gunky and sticky, and the carburetors are very finicky. And so with that said, you know, you're better off getting a fuel injected bike where you have a higher probability of, when you turn the key and, you know, try to turn the bike on, that the bike actually turns on. So with that being said, you know, if you're getting a new bike, if you're getting a new to you bike, if you're getting your first bike, do not get a bike that is carbureted. Like that KZ440, I got it. You know, I got it in Wisconsin for $800, and you know, $800 bike. In hindsight, you know, it's like obviously it didn't run properly, but yeah, I could not get that bike to run properly. So yeah, if you're in the market for your first bike, avoid a carbureted bike that is, unless you are mechanically inclined. If you are mechanically inclined, mechanically advanced, you know, you're better off spending a little more money for a bike that you can actually ride. So avoid carburetors. With that being said, if you're somebody who knows how to work on a carburetor, hit me up, send me a message. We can find some bikes that don't run. I'll ride them around as needed. You know, I'm in the Illinois area. I live in the Illinois area. I'm happy, you know, I get all my bikes from Wisconsin. I'm down to get some bikes from Indiana. There's a nice appreciation in the Illinois market. Oh, that's the copper. Oh my God, the cop had me distracted. I almost ran into the. No, I'm in the Illinois region. I live in Illinois, and you know, I get my bikes from Wisconsin, and I also would be down to get some bikes from Indiana. They're relatively cheap, and you know, if there's a carburetor issue with any of these bikes, that's, you know, if you are mechanically capable of working on a carburetor and making this bike run, let's let's go into business. You know, let's flip some bikes. I don't know what the exact business model would look like, but yeah, with that being said, if you are somebody that can work on a carburetor and make a bike run again, hit me up and let's work on some bikes. I'll do the logistics. I'll ride these bikes around and, you know, buy the bikes and find the buyers and be a good citizen Samaritan seller. I just need somebody that can work on a carburetor. It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Okay, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Also, if you're somebody who is at a dealership, you know, if you work for a motorcycle dealer, check out this crazy footage, man. I think I'm getting some pretty good footage. I think I'm getting some pretty good, you know, I think, sorry, the copper distracted me. These cops distract me, man. I think I'm getting some pretty good footage here. And I think that, you know, I might be able to help you promote some of your bikes. So in exchange for getting some riding content, and to be honest, maybe I'm in the market for a bike, maybe I'm not. I mean, we'll check it out. But if you're if you're affiliated with a motorcycle dealer and you would be interested in somebody getting some content for your bikes, maybe even having you know, a long-term strategic partner, let me know, man. Happy to get some riding footage. I'd love to test out bikes. I'll get my own insurance. You know, I'll figure it out. We can figure out the insurance part, where if I wreck, you know, you'll get a lump sum of cash. You know, so we'll try to put you in a position where if I totally wreck, you'll actually be rooting for me to wreck, just because you'll get the insurance company will basically pay for it. So we'll figure out the insurance. We'll figure out the insurance part. But if you're somebody who's with the motorcycle dealer in the Illinois region, maybe even Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, Illinois region, hit me up. Very happy to get some good content and basically help you guys sell some bikes. The cop. That is a cop. Don't tell me he's doing a Yui. Don't tell me he's doing a Yui. Don't tell me he's doing a Yui. Did he catch me doing something? Did he catch me doing something?